Thank you all for giving me this opportunity for sharing the next 1 hour with you all, sharing this sports research topic and what are the astrological factors that help us decode this topic. By the end of this presentation, we should be in a position to achieve 3 pointers. One, the promise of a sporting talent. If there is a promise, what is the level of success that one may attain? And the third, the niche factors that will help the individual achieve excellence and he be little more prominent than the other companions or the colleagues that he represent in this chosen sport. Okay, so to begin with, a little about sports. What sports in the modern day? Probably the most biggest unifying force for a polarized world today, binding a diverse set of people cutting across geographical boundaries, sharing their grief, ecstasy, sorrow for a momentary time at least. The today's Olympic Games are also held to bind the world, the polarized world, and we can see that earlier days it used to be considered as a pastime activity, but now it has gone on to a much sought out professional domain because of the ruthless competition that is there and the kind of popularity and even the wealth that is involved. The pursuit of excellence is the prerequisite condition for a successful and a prolonged career in a sports. We are going to explore some of the astrological factors. How are they going to indicate that how the individual will go on to achieve that? So before that, definition of sports. This is the definition of sports in this research that we have added. Broadly pertains to usage of dexterity, means the skillful usage of hands and legs, and athleticism governed by a set of rules to compete against a team of people or a single opponent, skillfully, courageously, and energetically without causing any intentional harm. This is the explanation that we have got for the sports. It is about the competition, it is about winning or losing, displaying your skill, and confronting different situation in a real-time situation. So what are the requirements? Because the dexterity is involved, we need a skillful use of physical body, hands and feet, fitness, courage, fighting ability, strength, ability to take initiatives, on the spot decisions, situational management, determination, whatnot. All those things are required. To sum up, we are looking at an individual who is an adroit. Means adroitness is what we are looking at. Somebody who can use his skills very cleverly, who is very quick in thinking and movement, both quick, physically moving, and also mentally as well. So both are required because it's a real-time situation. A real-time scenario is what we are talking. Let us look at the house that represents most of the qualities that we are talking about. Hands and feet. Third house represents the feet comes in because the 11th house, if 11th house comes in for the feet, 12th house also comes in, but the 11th house comes in for the legs that come in. If you're taking right leg for the 11th house, left leg, we will take it as a third house based on the Drekana. So the hands is considered. Then physical growth or development. This is from the Uttara Kalamrita. Then ability, fitness, Deha Samriddhi is what they say. Samarthyam. Then strength, Bala, Vikrama, valor, Yuddha, war. This is required on a physical level. On a mental level, we require dhairyam, mental bravery, good skill set and qualities. These are the significations that have been given. Initiatives, ability to take initiatives, great undertakings, causing sorrow. It can be taken as causing sorrow to the opponent or defeating the opponent. contracts, taking clean food, diet can be assigned to this. It's what the Uttara Kalamrita is talking about. From a relationship point of view, colleagues, companions, soldier can be taken. If it's not a real-time war situation, it can also be taken as your teammates. So these are the third house plays a very key role where a skill set of an individual is stored. It's a latent skill set that is stored in abundance that needs to get activated. And the activation usually happens from the ascendant. The ascendant is the very beginning. The Adi, Udayam, Rupam, Deham is what is being described in classics as the very beginning of life, the very beginning of the energy. The Udayam, the rise, the initiative, the ability to take initiatives, the activities that he is involved with, the nature and the form, the Rupam, and the physical body, the Deham. So ascendant is all that. And the nature and strength of the ascendant is the native's lifelong assets. This is where everything begins and this is where everything is stored. Basis this is where the life of an individual runs. The energy influencing the ascendant during birth time dictates the life events. This is where I kept talking about in the previous video also. Wherever the Lagna Lord goes in, or whatever the lords of the Lagna or other bhavas come into the Lagna, those areas dominate in the individual's life. This is the basic motivation that he has got. So Lagna Lord in third house, third Lord in Lagna, there is an activation of the skill that is stored in the third house very strongly. The energy from the ascendant and the descendant follows a triangular direction. There is an energy that is formed when the Lagna rises. The energy splits into two halves. One is a higher half, one is a lower half. From a higher half, there is a upward pointing triangle. From a lower half, there is a downward pointing triangle, speaking about spiritual trikona and the kama trikona. Now, other one, the very important one is fifth house to any house division in the horoscope signify creative urges. This we spoke about in the previous video also. Now, whatever the urge that comes in from the Lagna, because it is the spiritual one, spiritual triangle, the fifth house plays a key role here. The urge goes into the fifth house and the fifth house starts giving it a concrete direction, new shape, direction. This is where very good fifth house is required. Whatever may be the urge that has been ignited by various lords in the Lagna, when it moves, when the energy moves in the direction to the fifth house has to support, give it a new shape and bring it out in a proper format. So this is where the fifth house comes in as an intense activity house where one's thoughts and urges start taking a concrete shape. So very good fifth house is required. What we understand now is all the requirements that I have that we need to decode this research is in the third house and the 11th because of the hands and feet that is coming into picture. Third house predominantly. For that, a very good Lagna is required. Without the Lagna, nothing can happen. Without a good, strong Lagna. When the urge is begun in the Lagna, we need support of the fifth house greatly. This is where continuous churning will happen and a new direction will be given to the skill set. Now, fifth house, many significations have been assigned for fifth house in Uttara Kalamrita Kalidasa's Uttara Kalamrita, the 40 plus significations. What we want for this research in terms of fifth house is some of these: mind, chitta, consciousness is what they say, intelligence, wisdom, deep thought, foresightedness, house of recreation, the pastime activity that we are talking about. It talks about Garbha, which means anything that goes in and start taking a shape. So this is where the fifth house plays a very key role. A thought or a skill level enters in, takes a shape, fifth house gives it a shape. The stronger the fifth house, the stronger the direction to the skill level the individual has got. The third house may be very strong in terms of taking initiative, having a determination to succeed, but fifth house has to support that. For that, it has to come from the Lagna. The impulse has to come from the Lagna that I need to do this, that I want to pursue this kind of a skill. Then the fifth house starts supporting. So it's specific form and ideas, and central direction to the ignited talent. Where is the talent? The latent talent is in the third house. The Lagna ignites the talent, and then the impulse goes to fifth house, and there is a fifth house gives it a shape. Now, when fifth house gives it a shape, we need other supporting house to come into picture. Now, this is what I've showed in the previous slide also, the upward triangle and the downward triangle. This is the self of the individual, higher self. This can be taken as an other self, where the other part, the descendant. This is the conscious self of an individual. This is the invisible self of an individual, which is coming from the past life, which is always guarding him, supporting him, blessing him. That's why the ninth house shows the blessing or the Shubha. Both the spiritual triangle and the material triangle lays a very good foundation for the individual, but what he does with it depends on the quality of the 10th house in the present life. This is very, very important, because this is where the field of opportunity comes in for him, where he gets to display the talent that he has got, or he gets an opportunity to showcase at a higher level. These are the houses that we have discussed. There is a flow chart. I'll just take a minute to explain that. First, there is an urge and ignition from the ascendant, which is where the potency, possibility, and the promise is present. Then the third house comes into picture in the relevant topic that we are talking about, where courage, valor, skill set is set, hands, feet, fitness, strength is put, will to actualize the inner thinking is kept. Now, this impulse meets this, or this Lord meets this, it gets activated. Once it gets activated, it moves to fifth house for the direction. This gives the direction and shape. And this direction that gets in requires a blessing. So spiritual Trikona stands all alone without having the need of any other supporting houses. For the skill set that is required, that has gotten the direction, again it looks for an opportunity to display the talent, that express the talent, where he needs that field, where he gets that honor, fame, and everything, awards, rewards, everything that he gets in, it requires a field that is given by the 10th house. Very good 11th gives him the gains. It will make him realize his desires, his goals, everything starts getting fructified, because the 10th house is supporting and given him an opportunity. When 11th also starts supporting him, he has a perfect field setup to gain something out of it. So we see 5th house, direction to the ignited talent, specific form and shape. 10th house, objective field at the highest level, it gives you honor, ranks, and fame. So we need all these houses to come into picture. Now, goals, aspirations, house of gains, Ishta Siddhi is what we call. For all that is required, the 9th house has to come and bless it. Finally, the 9th Lord comes and blesses it. Once this blessing is got from the spiritual triangle, any activity will start getting better and better in an individual's life, and subsequently he will start attaining the success. We have decoded one, what all we need. The second part, the tougher part, what are the factors that will help the individual get better? Now, this is where I've been little inspired by the president of ICAS and his words of late, that we need to check shlokas properly, or read through and understand, and come up with our own findings, and go deeper into the Sanskrit shlokas. The Sanskrit language being highly integrative and multifaceted, sometimes the English language finds it very difficult to catch up with it. Now, Kalyana Varma Saravali chapter 15 talks about different level of expertise. It says Vidwan. For Jupiter and Mercury, he says Vidwan. Nipunaha, Saturn and Mercury. Sun plus Mercury. But they say Kushalaha for Venus and Moon. But everything has been translated as expert. But different words have been used. But when we check what are the meanings of Vidwan, Nipunaha, and Kushalaha, it gives a very different meaning. Everywhere else, the intellect is involved. The Mercury is involved. From a serious level of Vidwan, from like a Dr. Raman to whatever, Saturn, Mercury for something else, some mathematical, this thing that we need is there. Now, Kushalaha is the word that is used twice. One with Venus and Moon, and another one I'll come back to it later. When we go behind Kushala, we try to understand a simple meaning. I'm not a Sanskrit expert, but I've tried to speak to many people who know the subject or look through dictionaries and try and get some meaning out of it. We get it's derived from a word kusha, which is a type of grass used in religious ceremonies. And now this grass is said to be very sharp and penetrating in nature. It's almost symbolic that they're trying to say what kushala means somebody who is skilled physically, somebody who is having sharp and shrewd intellect also. Earlier days we were told that young boys were sent to get some grass and get this grass and come. So whoever pierces through that the thorny plants and get this were called as kushala. That is what also one of the stories I heard. Adjective kushala buddhi is used for the one who is having sharp, shrewd and penetrating intellect. This is what we got. And a simple interpretation of kushala also indicates manipulation in English, which in the present context to be taken as one who knows how to maneuver. This is what we want. We want an individual on the field who knows how to maneuver in different situations. Let's take a football. He knows how to maneuver. He should know how to maneuver the ball. Or in the hockey, the same thing, right? So maneuvering ability into different situations, physically and mentally as well. Further, words like Kaushalya is said to have stemmed out from the word Kushalaha. Again, Kaushalya meaning one who has dexterity, which means skilled at doing things using physical body. Now, this Kushala, the kind of expert that they're talking about, fits very well for us, for the topic that we are trying to decode. So, Venus and Moon becomes a very important combination. Any sort of interrelationship between Venus and Moon helps us or should help the individual in a greater level if he has already got the sporting urge in him and he has got a good fifth house. Let's take what other classics talks about Venus and Moon combination. Skilled in knowledge of machineries. Please watch out for the way they are talking. Shambhuhara Prakasha, skilled in knowledge of machineries. Brihad Jataka, skilled in machinery and stonework. Manasagari, skilled in sale and purchase of articles. Quarrelsome. Quarrelsome can be taken as fighting tendency also in the topic that we are talking. Jataka Bharana, skilled in sale and purchase of clothes. Jataka Parijata, skilled in weaving. Saravali, skilled in buying and selling. Some of the successful bankers today who have achieved a lot in being relationship managers and reaching very high positions have got this Venus and Moon combination working very well for them. This is the talking. The common thing is it's all talking about an individual who is a skilled worker, how to use his body, hands and feet or whatever that is that we are talking about. Let's go a little deeper. Let's try and understand what is that horoscope telling. I'm not an expert like our president. This topic exclusively should be presented by stature of that kind of a individual, but I'll try whatever little I know and I have read and I have worked on. Venus governs procreative fluid, which is the most important factor for a creativity of any sort. It contains latent fire. It's responsible for creation. And the higher books of, if we read through the high scriptures, they keep saying that, the procreative fluid is always in search of a womb, because in everything, every minute, there is something that is happening for a creation in the nature. For creativity to happen, the latent fire has to come into picture and a womb has to come into picture. The moon governing Manas acts as a womb. Now, assisting the procreative fluid, carrying latent fire is creating a special skill. So when the womb gives that kind of an opportunity for the procreative fluid to enter, it starts churning and it gives a base. Now, let's remember the fire without an earth element may not burn successfully. It may just dissipate in the air, and the water is also responsible for the creation. Consistent burning is required. For the consistent burning, for the fire, there should be a earthy base. So in the zodiac sign, if you see, Venus nakshatras rise in fiery signs and moon nakshatras rise in earthy signs. So this fiery signs are kept next to the earthy signs. So it's almost like a fire requiring a earthy bed for a consistent burning. So any interconnection with Venus and Moon, there seems to be a consistent burning, consistent progression in terms of the creative ability of an individual at different planes. This is what we need to establish: interconnection of Venus and Moon. Venus in Moon Rashi, and in ascending order we can take Venus in Moon Rashi with Moon being placed elsewhere, and Moon in Venus Rashi with Venus being placed elsewhere. Parivartana with another planet where the Moon is also involved. Trikona from each other. Parivartana between Venus and Moon. That should be an ideal combination here. Venus and Moon aspecting each other. Venus and Moon in conjunction in the same Rashi. Venus in Moon Nakshatra and Moon being placed elsewhere. Moon in Venus Nakshatra and Venus being placed elsewhere. And Venus and Moon being placed in each other nakshatras. Being placed in each other nakshatras, and nakshatras being a superior influence, should be the highest level that an individual get it. However, if any conjunction, parivartana happening Venus and Moon, or aspect, should help the individual get that kind of a finesse touch in him. Additional clues. Now, the text goes on to say, gives further clues. We need further clues, as many clues as possible to decode, because there are different type of sports that we have got. Conjunction of Sun and Moon, as per Shambhuhora Prakasha, Manasagari, Brihad Jataka and Paladipika, gives special weapon wielding skill. Now, if we have this kind of a clue, Sun and Venus, I know that if we are talking about a cricket, he has got a special ability to bat, or a weapon wielding skill. That was whether it's a tennis, or whether it's table tennis, or whether it's cricket or tennis, or whatever. In the sport where a bat or something instrument is held in the hand, this plays a very key role. Venus and Sun and Venus. The other one, conjunction of Saturn and Mars. Here again they use Kushalaha. They use again Kushalaha. Now, what is Saturn and Mars? They're saying the individual gets knack of jugglery. What is jugglery? Sleight of hand. The sleight means trickery, to deceive. So it's like fine motor skills of the hand that is required to deceive the opponent. If you look at in basketball, or if you look at a bowler in the cricket, like the way he bowls, he changes the grip and he's bowling a leg spin with an off spin grip, all those things, he's trying to deceive an opponent at that moment. And boxer, even he requires a little deceiving technique through his hands and the body. Saturn and Mars, conjunction of Saturn and Mars gives this. So any conjunction between this, over and top of the above rules that we're talking, should help the individual give that kind of a knack. The third clue, which I got it from my senior faculty, which I was also not aware, it says Virata Parva of Mahabharata. There is a shloka which says Arjuna is declaring himself as, he's telling that he was born in the junction of Purva Falguni and Uttara Falguni, and hence is known as Falguna, which means if Arjuna is superiorly skilled, then these nakshatras should show, any conjunction of Moon with these nakshatras or any other relevant planets should show very good skill set in an individual. Basis this shloka. And also let's understand, Falguna is what my little understanding goes, also what I have read is non-essential. In this, we can term it as pastime activities. The fourth additional clue and the last one, Ashada Nakshatras, that is known as Palasha Woodstaff. Again, an instrument in the hand. For somebody who holds a bat, cricket bat or a tennis bat, when these nakshatras play an important role, they tend to give a special skill set to an individual. The last two, from a nakshatra's point of view, is open for further research, and we can see these in many charts. I will invite you all to go and check in many charts these nakshatras playing. These two are a given thing in the classic. Now the third one, the objective of everything, what kind of success he may attain. So the role of Navamsha has to come into picture, because that is where the objective assessment of a planetary strength is made. What is the strength of a planet? What are the fusion of houses that we are bringing in? And those fusion of houses, are they supporting in an objective realization? The lords of relevant houses, here what we are talking about is 5th lord, 3rd lord and 11th lord, because these are the houses that are playing a key role. How are they placed in the Navamsha chart? And how are their Navamsha dispositors placed back in the Rashi chart? If they are in the exaltation, Mula Trikona, debilitation, attaining cancellation, all gives a different set of results. And placement in Trikonas and Kendras are very good, and blessed by additionally by a Trikona Lord is a additional factor. And what is the basis for this kind of a step is Bharati Yoga, where they are taking 5th Lord, 2nd Lord, and 11th Lord. Here I've just added 3rd Lord instead of the 2nd, taking a little creative liberty where to attain the same. It's the same logic, because instead of the 2nd, the 3rd dominates in a sports, so we are involving the 3rd. This is the most important slide to move forward. Please be with me in this. Most important, all that we learned separately, we are bringing everything together now. To bring everything together, we need to analyze charts in a particular fashion to attain the 3 levels that we are talking about. Strong Lagna or Lagna Lord. This is the most important thing. Most important thing to proceed anywhere further. Connected to 3rd or 11th Lords. This is where the ignition for the skill set that is there will begin. This is where it happens. Special disposition of the 3rd house and Lord. Malefics in the 3rd house is very good. 3rd Lord attaining any special significant, getting exalted or with a powerful malefics, it gives a tremendous amount of courage to take initiatives. So we need special disposition of the 3rd house. Then when both ignition of the skill has happened, we need a very good disposition of the 5th house for the direction now. I need a direction, specific direction, central core direction of the ideas and shape and form. So 5th house required. And any interconnection between these lords in the chart is a welcome added bonus. Of all the things that happen, the next rule, the 10th house from either from the Lagna or the Moon should aspect the Lagna or the Lagna Lord to give him that kind of an opportunity at the highest level, should elevate him to the highest level. Association of Lagna or Lagna Lord with the 10th house or the 10th Lord from Lagna and or the Moon. Both ways it's happening, it's fantastic. One way, yes, we can take it again. Of all the 4 meeting, then we can check the objectivity strength of a planet. So we can see how are these 3-5 lords go into Navamsha and what their dispositors doing in the Rashi chart. Are they being placed in a Trikona, Kendra or a other good houses and not a Dusthanas. Here, post satisfactory of the Navamsha, rule 5, the special dignity of this one of the planets that comes into Rashi chart should be blessed by a Trikona Lord or placed in a Trikona, which is very good for the skill harnessing again. After all these rules are there, check for the relationship between Venus and Moon. Now this will give him a little edge. Whether it's a Trikona relationship, whether they are together, whether they are Parivartana, whatever. The deeper the relationship, greater the physical adroitness of the individual. This is what we are trying to achieve. This will help him achieve the excellence. Additionally, check for relationship between Sun and Venus and Saturn and Mars for analysis on specific skill set. You need a bowler. You need to analyze the bowling skill of an individual. All these things are there, but say somewhere Saturn and Mars have to come into picture. Or a basketball player like Michael Jordan, we need that Saturn and Mars combination together because he needs to deceive the opponent through his trickery, through the hand. That's what we are looking at. And if you're looking for a batsman, we need a Sun and Venus to be together because of weapon wielding skills, the special weapon wielding skill that we are looking at. So keeping these in mind, let's start with our own country's superstar, the best hockey player. You see, the best hockey player the history of hockey has seen is what we get to read. Lagna Lord in 3rd house. 11th Lord Mars aspects the Lagna. Now the strong ignition for a sporting talent has begun. The rule 1 is met. Special disposition of the 3rd house. Lagna Lord in Purva Palguni Nakshatra. Again, the special nakshatra that we spoke about, with Sun and Rahu, malefics being there, gave him a tremendous amount of courage. Second rule is met. The third rule, 5th house is benefic. and the fifth lord is Vargottama with benefic moon. The third rule is also met. Mars, which is the 10th lord from the moon, aspects the Lagna. The fourth rule is also met. So individual has got a great sporting urge, has got a tremendous ignition for it, has got a courage. Now he has got very good fifth house where it is giving a good direction. Now the 10th house has supported him. The 10th lord from the moon has supported him to give him a little higher level of focus, whatever the field that he has got. Now let's look at the Navamsha angle. We'll bring in fifth lord, third lord, and 11th lord. Fifth lord is Venus, third lord is Sun. Both come in and sit in the second house. The Venus is the fifth lord himself. The 11th lord is Mars. Again Venus. Again it comes and sits in a benefic house in the second house. Now the Navamsha angle is also met. Special disposition is also met. Now we will go into Venus and Moon, the special characteristics that he has got, and mutual aspect between Saturn and Mars. Mutual aspect, Mars aspect Saturn, Saturn aspect Mars. It is told that there were individuals who even checked his bat to understand whether he had any glue sticking into the bat so that the ball could never leave the bat. He was that good. His ball maneuvering skills, his ability to pierce the opposition's area was unparalleled. Against all odds, he brought laurels to the country. He played in a very difficult situation for the country. So he is considered as one of the greatest sportsmen of India, probably the best hockey player ever, and is called the magician. So you can see all the rules meeting. Let's go to the other one. Now the current global superstar, Lionel Messi. Third lord in the Lagna gets exalted. Lagna lord in the Lagna. Now Lagna becomes exceedingly powerful, and there is a very strong urge that is created because the third lord is exalted and Rahu aspects the third. You can take the trinal aspect as well. So the second rule is also met. Fifth lord Mercury goes into its own house in the second house again. Third rule is also met. Fourth one, 10th lord from the Lagna, 10th lord from the moon. Saturn aspects the Lagna and the Lagna lord. He has got the highest level of opportunity to display his talent. This is a very, very superior combination that we are talking about. Then now what we have to check is fifth lord, third lord, and 11th lord. That is Mercury, Moon, and Jupiter. Mercury is in the Mars house. It goes into second house. Moon in the Mercury house. Again, it goes into second house. Jupiter in the Mars house. Again, it goes into second house. It's all in the second house, aspected by a Trikona Lord Mercury. Now, the second house is we know it's the efforts of the 10th house. It's the resultant of the 10th house, being fifth from 10th. So the kind of money that he has made today is probably unparalleled to any other sportsman. Now, after all the rules are met, come back to the Venus and Moon. He's got the best Venus and Moon combination, Moon being exalted, Venus in the own Rashi, best conjunction that he has got. The way he moves on the field, his maneuvering abilities, his tactics, his adroitness is parallel to none. Some even go on to say he's the best footballer ever, even bypassing the Maradona and the Peles and whatever. Today, I think we can see there's another rising star, Mohamed Saleh from Liverpool, who is also having this kind of a combination, but not as good as what Messi is having. Initially, he may find success, but may not reach the level. But this man has got the highest level of success. If you see this combination of Venus, Moon being in the Lagna, aspecting the Saturn, or Saturn aspecting the Lagna, Venus, and Moon, as per Jataka Lankara, chapter 3, shloka 18, also is a combination for humiliation. maybe in a highest sporting arena, when you lose or gain, you are bound to face this kind of a criticism and humiliation. Both the combinations may work in this chart. Muhammad Ali, the finest boxer the world has seen. Lagna Lord is in the 7th, aspecting the Lagna with the 11th Lord and the 3rd Lord, Venus and Mercury. Mercury is the 3rd Lord, Venus is the 11th Lord, swift hands that he has got, which is excellent. 3rd house is aspected by Jupiter. The 3rd Lord is with the Sun. The special disposition of the 3rd house is also created. 5th Lord, participating in a yoga called Ruchaka Mahapurusha Yoga, also aspects 5th from the 10th. So special 5th house is also formed. You can check the Navamsha dispositors, the same rules again. I'm not going to repeat it again. 5, 3, and 11, the way they all come together. Now you come to the Venus and Moon again. The way he moved on the boxing ring was very artistic. It's the grace at which he moved, the swiftness at which he moved is probably parallel to none. That is why he's considered the greatest boxer. You can check the same kind of combinations in Mike Tyson's chart also. One of the other combinations that classic gives for a boxer is Mars and Moon, aspect of Mars and Moon. Here there is no direct aspect of Mars and Moon. Kendra relationship is there, but Saturn is aspecting it. The Saturn and Mars gives him the knack of that jugglery, the sleight of hand, the fine motor skills, the to deceive and all those things, that whatever we are talking about. So all the rules functioning in the horoscope of Muhammad Ali. You can check the same rules functioning in Mike Tyson's horoscope as well. Another one, the Olympic great, Michael Phelps. Lagna Lord in 2nd house, Moon house. Moon is known as I think Minnada Jalala from the Uttara Kalamrita, which means fish and the waterborne creatures. 3rd Lord, Sun, and 11th Lord, Mars in the Lagna ignites a very powerful sporting skill. Rahu aspects the 3rd, powerful malefic aspects the 3rd, which has got a very good bravery, courage, and skill. The 5th house, the 9th Lord, Saturn, is exalted in the 5th house. Again, 5th house goes into the own house, although in the 12th is symbolic of water, which is again good. So all rules meeting. The 5th Lord, the 3rd Lord, and the 11th Lord is what we need to check in the Navamsha dispositors and their Navamsha dispositors back here. Let's check in this chart a little more. The 5th Lord's Navamsha dispositor gets exalted, who is also the 9th Lord. The rules met is in the one combination only. 3rd Lord's Navamsha dispositor again gets exalted. Now you see the number of these kind of things meet, it just becomes exceedingly powerful chart. Venus and Moon aspects. Now a dispositor of the Lagna Lord goes into Moon. Here the 10th Lord from the Lagna aspect the Lagna Lord, giving him a height or the kind of opportunity that he's got, honor, fame, and all. He's the best Olympian, or probably one of the best Olympian in the history of Olympics, winning so many. And Venus and Moon combination. You see everywhere there is a water. Lagna Lord is in water, Moon is in watery sign, and Venus 12th again comes into 5th, 12th, symbolic of water. There's water, water, water everywhere, and kind of success that he's got. You can rush through the rules and you can see through how this chart works. Here is probably the most devastating batsman the game ever saw. He could, the opposition were literally scared of whenever he came into bat. Now we can see some of the combinations here. Lagna Lord being aspected by the 3rd Lord, Saturn. 3rd Lord having, 3rd house having powerful malefics, giving him a great courage and initiative. 5th Lord in 11th house, aspected by its own Lord, becomes very strong. 10th Lord, Lagna Lord is with the 10th Lord. So all the rules meet. Now next, we can check Mars, we can check Venus, and we can check Saturn. What are they doing in the Navamsha and their dispositors back in the Rashi chart? A combination of Venus and Moon, you can see aspect between each other. The way he moved his body or transferred his weight onto the drives that he did, For people who know a bit of game or who have played, I have played a little to understand that. Is probably I don't see, you can check with the expert, you don't see a batsman like him again. The hard hitting nature, the way he moved on the crease, the way he moved his body was just spectacular in his approach. And you can see the level of admiration that other players have got for him. I'm going to skip because of the time scale that is having a problem. We'll move into our own Sachin Tendulkar. There are multiple horoscopes that is available, but checking through multiple sources, I got this is what I could get from various sources, and trying to understand what the principles that work it. Lagna Lord in the 9th house with the 3rd Lord, exalted Lagna Lord with the highest degrees, peak degrees, 10 degrees. This is one of the great combinations again. The sporting ignite or whatever that has got is very, very high. Same Sun and Venus aspect the 3rd house. The second rule is met. The third, 5th Lord gets into 6th house, gets a very strong nature bhanga, and Moon is in the 5th house. Now again, it becomes a very important one. Whenever somebody has to understand what's going on in the opposition's mind, Moon in the 4th and 5th is exceedingly benefic, is what the classical literature says. So here he had an additional time compared to any other person in understanding his opponents. Lagna Lord with the 10th Lord, all 4 roles meeting. Now we have to take 5th Lord Jupiter, 3rd Lord Venus, and 11th Lord Mercury. Jupiter is in the Venus Rashi. Venus comes into 9th house with an exalted Sun. 11th Lord Mercury is Jupiter. Again, it comes into 6th house with a 9th Lord Mars. 3rd Lord Venus is in the Sun's house, and the dispositor of it gets exalted. They all are with the highest exaltation degrees. Either Mars is also in the highest exaltation degree, Sun is also in the highest exaltation degree. The kind of success that he has met object or in manner of wealth as well as his talent is probably one of the highest in the world sports. Now you see the other fine combinations that we have got. Moon in the Venus Rashi and Venus in its own, Moon in Venus Nakshatra, and Venus is in its own Nakshatra, being in trines to each other. Saturn and Mars being trines to each other. And the special weapon wielding skill that he has got. His technique or whatever the achievements, forget about the achievements, his batting technique is probably the best, is what the individuals or the experts say. We have not seen Don Brodman bat, neither we have the data about him, but whatever the modern world witnessed, I don't think any batsman has come closer to this man. So you can see all the other combinations working very well at the highest level of degrees with him. And the last one, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. The horoscope that I've got is from the notable horoscopes from Dr. B.V. Raman. Since there is no time, we shall not go analyzing Navamsha, because the exact time is not mentioned and midnight is given. This is the Lagna. 3rd Lord in the Lagna gets exalted. Lagna Lord in the 3rd. There is a mutual parivartana between Venus and Moon. So first 2 rules are already met easily. There is a powerful malefics in the 3rd house. The second rule is also met. Now 5th Lord Mercury. Now what can we tell? What can anybody tell about his cleverness, is skillful? Before he went on to the war, he was a great wrestler, defeating many champions that all of us must have read, is what I believe. He defeated his own uncle. He fought with he wrestled with I think elephant, tiger, snake, various texts talking about various things, and he defeated 2 champions of Mathura during his time. And you can see all the rules functioning that we discussed here. And he had an excellent 5th house, giving it a shape and direction, and the Venus and Moon giving, and the kind of situational ability he had, the decisions that he took, the maneuverability he had on the field, on the war field. The greatest what we can say is the greatest human being in flesh and blood that the mankind has probably known, with the most intelligent acumen. I have additional references. One can go through all these references: Mr. Sunil Gavaskar, Mr. Garfield Sobers, Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods, Simone Biles, the gymnast, Martina Navratilova, Diego Maradona. Wherever there is an exception, I have put an exception. Please watch out, and watch out carefully for some of the combinations that you want to decode. There are many more names I couldn't add here because of the space. You can see the finest combination of Venus, Moon, Saturn, Mars in Mutaya Muralidharan's chart. Don't worry if there is no time. Just analyze through moon sign only, you will get it. One more great footballer, Zinedine Zidane. The greatest batsman, probably even Mr. Gavaskar rates this batsman as a higher, Gia Vishwanath. All other combinations working in this chart. We don't have time, but you can check it through the moon itself, moon sign itself. Again, Anil Kumble, Mr. Pele, Michael Jordan, the basketball ability, the sleight of hand, the trickery, whatever that he had. Diego Maradona, you can see the hand of God, or the kind of hidden things in the chart. You can analyze that. Also, this Venus and Moon, the physical adroitness that we are getting, should be applied to somebody who's very good in dancing, and also in kind of what we call stunts in the movie. So you can check Tom Cruise, you can check Bruce Lee, martial arts exponent. You can check Mr. Puneet Rajkumar, who was very famous in dancing and his stunts. Various other people who have Hrithik Roshan, all of them having that kind of a combination, which will add on. We can't jump to those combinations at the beginning itself without understanding the urge and the impulse the individual has got. You can go through the Saurav Ganguly's, Virendra Sehwag, any number of charts you can go through. You will get these kind of combinations, you will get these kind of rules functioning. So with this, I will finish my presentation.
Thank you, Pradeep ji. So it's a great retreat for all the astrological savants. So this is one of the best sessions I also witnessed. So I had a great opportunity. I also add Shukla ji to. I request his comments as well. Thank you.
Deep, I'm really very, very happy. Now I'm sure that ICAS is in safe hands because youngsters are coming and they are doing something which really appeals to me. I always want something new to come. The way you described Falguni, I was really so happy, I can't tell you. Falgu words in Sanskrit means something which is unnecessary, which has to be thrown away, which has to be destroyed. And that's why from Falgu, the word Falgun has come, there Holi comes, and Holi we burn. So whole idea is whatever thing is unnecessary in our life, whatever we have to ultimately throw away, that is denoted Falgu. So the way you explained Uttara Falguni and Purva Falguni, amazing. Very few persons could have done that. And similarly, this Moon Mercury discussion was so good. Moon, Mercury, then Saturn, Mars, fantastic. I want such type of research. People must approach all these dictums with a fresh mind and giving something new. You keep on contemplating on the issues. What are there? Why this combination become like that? Why a player has been doing so well? Why? So that these very points you touched. I'm so very happy. I kept on listening with full attention, rapt. Couldn't move any here and there. Camera switched off and totally I was all ears and ears only. I switched on my camera only now because I didn't want to distract even myself. I closed my eyes and kept on listening.
Thank you.
I did not more than that. This is in itself enough to say what I felt. Thank you very much. All my blessings to you, dear. All my blessings, whatever I have got today, all blessing goes to you.
Thank you.
Keep on doing this and be in touch. And whenever think of something new, either tell Hola or tell directly to me. Okay. We shall see in what manner that can be further projected and told to others also. Because first of all, we must do some research, develop certain principles, test them, thereafter discuss them. Wherever needed, those can be further, say, either corroborated or additional facts given. And thereafter, whole idea is present before ICAS. The entire ICAS must know. in what manner this has been done and how many steps we have climbed to reach to this dictum. That's our whole aim. That's what Dr. Raman always wanted. And he always whispered in my ears how to go ahead. Perhaps you are aware, he was the first man to tell in my ears. Otherwise, Kanchi Shankaracharya, you concentrate only on Gita and Jyotish. And say Purus Sukta and Jyotish. So many such things. I'm started working on that, and that has given results. So today I'm giving the same message to you, which I got from my elders. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right.
I also thank this opportunity to thank my guru, Madam Gayatri Devi Vasudev, who must be watching this. Thank you for inspiring. Thank you very much, sir, for inspiring. Thank you very much.
My compliments her also. If she has guided you that way, my compliments her also.
Thank you, sir.
Great.